Adobe has secretly been stealing my art, stealing your art, stealing all of our art. Adobe has not been dealing in Illustrator or in Photoshop or in InDesign or in Premiere Pro. No, they have been dealing in slave trade. Slave trade Adobe, assassinating Adobe, abusing Adobe. Unbelievable. This is the worst move in artist tools ever done by any company in the entire history of humanity. Unbelievable what they've done. Here's what Adobe or Adobe or whatever you pronounce it has to say on their terms and conditions. We may access blah 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 blah. Important. Our automated systems may analyze your content using techniques such as machine learning. Our automated systems may use your content. Machine learning, your content, machine learning. What am I reading here? What am I reading? I am reading that Adobe is using your content to train their AI models, their Firefly AI models. And so why are they training their AI models? They are training their AI models in their own words for improving the creative capacity for our users. Okay, that's a lot of horseshit. That's not true at all. Why are they actually training those AI models? They are training those AI models so that cameramen on the streets don't have to record anymore, but AI models can create those recordings for us. So that animators don't have to draw things out anymore, but these AI systems can draw them for us. So that editors don't have to edit things anymore, but AI systems can edit things for us. That is why they are training those AI models. So what is actually happening here? The essence of the whole thing. This is what it is all about. Adobe, the slave trading organization. This is 15th century, 16th century, 17th century slave trade all over again. Okay, this is unbelievable. Look, here's what happens. Step 1. Adobe developed a system, a technology that was able to democratize the technology that Hollywood had. This was step 1. Amazing what they did. They developed this editing software that gave the power to the people so that people could make films, movies, animations, all sorts of stuff with the same quality as Hollywood producers. This was unbelievable. I remember what happened. Everybody was like, whoa. Unbelievable. Happy artists. And so what happened? Artists fell in love with Adobe products. In step number 2, Adobe introduced the subscription model. The unbelievable subscription model. Now, the subscription model promised to develop the technology further and further, to develop the software further and further, so that you would not only have rudimentary Hollywood level technology, but high level Hollywood level technology anyway, so that you would have the best of the best of the best. A very big promise. And what happened? Well, they introduced a subscription model, an extremely expensive model where artists were paying a massive amounts of money. And they did not improve the products at all. I talked with these employees. They improved the products 0.3% a year. That's it. That's what you're paying for a 0.3% improvement. Nobody would pay for it. This is unbelievable. They are just cashing in money in step number 2. Now, step number 3 is where it all comes together. In step number 3, we suddenly understand why the subscription model was so important. We suddenly understand why the whole entire Adobe package with all of their different levels was created in the first place. We understand that Adobe assassination, that Adobe abusing, the Adobe appropriation, the Adobe amusement parks, where these top-level, high-level business people sit down in their chairs and laugh with step number 3. In step number 3, here's what happens. Adobe decides to use the content generated by those artists, use all of the data that those artists are generating to train their models, to be able to replace those artists in the first place. Let's go! Adobe wins! Adobe wins! Adobe wins! This is unbelievable. The artists lose and Adobe wins. This is genius! I've never seen something like this. The irony is unbelievable and becomes more unbelievable when we realize that this video that you are watching is obviously also edited with Adobe Premiere Pro. And so what happens? They lock you in with their models. They lock you in by allowing you to train yourself, to train your skills on their models, so that you are locked in their ecosystem, so that you understand their software. You don't want to learn a new software. You don't want to invest time, your precious time, into learning a new software. No, you just want to use the software that you've been using. If they increase the subscription model, what are you going to do? Like, learn a completely new software with your precious time, or just pay the extra money? Pay the extra dollars every single month. Of course you're going to pay the extra dollars, or at least that's what I do. And now they come with this insanity. Unbelievable insanity. It's unbelievable insanity. And what do? I record and then edit the video with their model, with their software. Then you can ask yourself, well, why do you do that? Here's the thing. Technically speaking, I could not agree with the terms and conditions. What happens if you don't agree? Well, you can't use the software if you don't agree. If you don't agree, you are locked out of using the software in the first place. So what's the alternative? Well, you could also try to unsubscribe. You could just stop paying. Turns out, if you stop paying, you have to pay. You have to pay in order to unsubscribe because of some strange technicality. It's technically speaking a 1-year model or some whatever, or you got some discount and the discount falls away, so you have to pay for the whole, like, some whatever random BS. And so if you want to unsubscribe, you have to pay extra. Okay, great. So what does all of this mean? If you're an artist, what does it actually mean? Does it mean that you have to stop using Adobe software? Is that going to solve your problems? It's not going to solve the problems. There's something going on that goes beyond Adobe, that goes beyond using a particular software package that allows you to edit, or allows you to edit photos, or allows you to do animation, InDesign, whatever you want to do. Fresco, chisels. Here's what is happening. The next 10 years are the most important years for any artist in the history of humanity. The next 10 years will decide whether or not you have invested all of the time to becoming an artist, all of the time to learn skills, all of that time to then waste it all for a cubicle future where you will just do a regular job working for McDonald's instead. The next 10 years will decide whether or not AI will create things in the future. What does it mean when AI creates things in the future? What does that actually mean? Well, here's the thing. Most people in life, they don't create anything. Most people in life imitate. Most people in life imitate what other people have created. At some point, there was no pessimism. For example, let's just take one example. Let's take Shakespeare, the amazing Shakespeare, as an example. At some point, pessimism didn't exist. Nobody was a pessimist. Nobody admired pessimism. Pessimism was just simply not a thing until Shakespeare came along and put a puppet on the stage, an actor that happened to be pessimistic and happened to be extremely likable, and suddenly the pathway for pessimism was born. People could suddenly see, like, hey, wait a minute, pessimism is a thing. I could be a pessimist. I could develop an identity that is slightly pessimistic, and people started doing that. And lo and behold, we have pessimistic people. We have people who believe in pessimism. This is part of their identity. And so what happened is that people imitate creations from artists. This is why you have an identity. What people don't understand is that everything has been invented by creators. All of the belief systems have been invented by creators. All of the identities have been invented by creators. All of the personality, you are copy-pasting what you've seen in movies. People are copy-pasting what they've seen in movies. The reason why you are a nihilist is because there was a philosopher who created nihilism. The reason why you are a pessimist is because there was an artist or a philosopher or a group of artists, a group of creators that created these ideals. The reason why you are what you are in most cases is because you have been imitating ideas that were planted in your brain. And so what happens if we allow AI to create? If we allow AI to create, we allow AI to decide what human beings will be imitating. And so inevitably we allow AI to tell us what to do. We allow ourselves to be slaves. This is the slave trade of the 15th century. This is the slave trade of the 17th century. all over again, but in a completely different way that is less visible. If AI creates and human beings stop creating, then that means that human beings will be imitating the ideas developed by artificial intelligence. It means that everything will be deterministic. It means that AI overlords who control the AI systems will decide what people will imitate. And if you decide what people will imitate, you decide what people will think and how they will behave and which actions they will deploy in life. And if you decide what they think and how they behave and which actions they deploy, you literally enslave them. You decide what they do, and they will not know it. That's the whole genius part of this thing. They will not know it. And so, as an artist, this is not just about Adobe stealing from you. This is not just about Adobe using artists, letting them pay for software that will be training on their output, on their work, to then replace them afterwards. No, it goes beyond that. It goes into the realm of whether or not you will be a slave for eternity. Whether or not you and your grandson and your granddaughter and their granddaughter and their granddaughter and all of the generations that will happen afterwards will be slaves to the AI overlords. That is what this is really about. And so how are you going to solve this? How are you going to make sure that you will not be a slave? How are you going to make sure that AI will not tell you what to do? How are you going to make sure that you will have a job, whatever job that you want? Not a slave job, cubicle existence, but a job of your choice. An artist job, a creative job. So what are you going to do? What is the only option you have as an artist in the 21st century right now? The only option you have. Because we don't actually know what is going to happen. We don't know exactly how AI will transform the landscape 5 or 10 years from now. And so what is the only job that we have in the next 5 years before it's too late? The only job we have is to make shitloads of money from our creative endeavors, shitloads of money from our artistic skill sets, shitloads of money from our artistic vision that we've developed for the last 10, 15, 20 years. Because now we can still do that. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it might be too late. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it might be over. It's very plausible that artists will not be born anymore 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that this is the last moment in time where you can develop an artistic career, that this is it. And so how are you going to do that? Well, you can obviously use the artist formula, step-by-step formula, blueprint, whatever, that I've developed for exactly that purpose. Besides that, Instagram is doing the same trick as Adobe. They're also using their users to train their AI models to replace those users. It's unbelievable what Instagram is doing. I've made a video about it. Link in the description and in the end screen for everything. That said, get the hell out of here.